The highly controversial September 2nd video of strikes in the Caribbean on alleged cartel drug boats will not be coming to a screen near you. At least that's according to Secretary of War Pete Hegseth.
But in keeping with long-standing Department of War policy, Department of Defense policy, of course, we're not going to release a top secret, full unedited video of that to the general public.
Hegseth told reporters today the video would not be released publicly, but did say that members of the House and Senate Armed Services Committees, which oversee the Pentagon, would have the opportunity to watch it. He and Secretary of State Marco Rubio are on Capitol Hill. They were briefing lawmakers as Congress investigates the boat strikes. They're especially focused, Congress members, on the secondary strike on a boat on September 2nd that killed 2 survivors as they clung to the wreckage. Critics say that would violate the Pentagon's own law of war manual that says it's illegal to fire upon shipwrecked survivors. But the White House says the second strike was legal. It claims these attacks are part of a larger campaign to keep deadly drugs from entering American shores. NewsNation Washington correspondent Joe Khalil is live for us on Capitol Hill. Joe, we just got breaking news that President Trump is ordering a blockade of sanctioned oil tankers into Venezuela. Tell us what's happening.
Yeah, so what that means is it is very likely that we're going to see more of what we saw just a couple of days ago, which is the United States military presence intercepting an oil tanker with what we said was sanctioned oil. And President Trump also said that the military presence just off the coast of Venezuela is not going anywhere until and unless Venezuela gives the United States back, and these are President Trump's words here, all of the land, oil, and assets it has stolen from us. So unclear exactly what that means, and it's a perfect segue into what we were talking about here on Capitol Hill, because even after the briefings from Secretaries Rubio and Hegseth to the whole Senate and to anybody in the U.S. House that wanted to be there, there were still questions about what the end goal is with respect to the Venezuela strikes, what comes next, and ultimately what this bombing campaign looks like. We talked to several lawmakers as they left those briefings. There were a lot of Republicans, mostly Trump allies, that felt satisfied with the briefing. They said that they feel the intelligence on which these strikes are based is solid. The legal reasoning for it is solid. They're happy with the strikes. But there were a lot of Democrats and some Republicans that expressed concern about, again, not knowing what comes next and Congress's role. A lot of them want to assert the congressional authority to authorize military force and military strikes. So far, that hasn't happened. Take a listen to what we were hearing from Democrats and Republicans here.
I'm telling you that I came out of this briefing with no idea as to what the administration's endgame or strategy is.
Do you think if there are land strikes, the administration should come to Congress and get approval before that happens?
Well, I think the question is whether or not the activity constitutes war. And the current designation of the terrorist organizations is their infrastructure. Right now, the infrastructure relates to the boats that are bringing the poison into America.
So Secretary Hegseth says that video of that first strike will not be made public, as you said, Elizabeth, but it may still be viewed within Congress. So far, there are still pushes to get all members of Congress to be able to see it.
All right, Joe Khalil, live from Capitol Hill. Thanks so much.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.